This has been the season of abduction, disappearance, torture, and killing of Kenyan youth. In all this, the government has feigned ignorance. The year we are about to end will be recorded for the battering in the streets and for the killing of our Gen Z youth. Their only sin was that they came out to exercise democratic self-expression and to stage peaceful protests against an untrustworthy regime that has gone rogue. And how did the regime act? They did a parallel of goons to turn otherwise peaceful, legitimate protests upside down. Our youth protested against oppressive tax policies and against bad financial laws and practices. They demonstrated against shameless displays of opulence and of corruption in high places in government. For this, they were battered, their heads were violently opened in the streets. Those pictures outside the National Assembly are still fresh in the minds of Kenyan parents. Their lives were taken away in the prime of youth. They were shoved into gunny bags and thrown into dump sites like bad rubbish. What government does this anywhere in the world in the 21st century? I recall when we had to go and join the people of Embakasi South and witness that terrible, terrible sight. If it was a responsible government, by now they would have sent the Army, National Youth Service to clean up that mess. But do they care? This regime is determined to reverse the democratic gains that Kenyans have made over the years. It has captured the legislature and reduced it to a cheap rubber stamp for the executive. And today, it is busy stalking the judiciary with the same intents. We hail Kenyan youth for standing up to this oppressive and corrupt regime. We assure them that they are not alone. They are our children. Their welfare is of the greatest import to all of us. We shall not look on as their future is stolen from them by an uncaring regime. We are going to fight for you and with you, especially in the new year. To that extent, we will give direction not too long from now. Prepare for the start of what I call the final liberation of our country. We are sending a warning to the abductors and to the killing squads. The writing is on the wall. Your days are truly numbered. Insecurity, impunity, state opulence, and a rigid government that does not listen to anybody. Still, let us not give up on the joy that has traditionally come with the Jamhuri and Christmas season. It is remarkable that this season is also marked by the International Anti-Corruption Day, which is marked today, the 9th December, and the International Human Rights Day, which will be celebrated everywhere in the world tomorrow on December the 10th. Then there is also the climax of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which has gone on for slightly over 2 weeks now. Put together with Jamhuri Day on Thursday this week, this is a truly significant season. We are called upon to solemnly reflect about the import and wider relevance of some of these remarkable days as citizens of our country and citizens of the greater global community. we are especially called upon to do an honest audit of our performance as a Kenyan nation in all the spaces that are being celebrated this week. What is the reading of our human rights record? For instance, what are we doing about winning the war against gender-based violence? What is the state of our self-determination as an independent nation? And what have been the dividends of independence through the years? What gains have been made, if any, under the Kenya Kwanza regime? How have state authorities cushioned the citizens to give them meaningful comfort in what is traditionally a season of celebration after odious labor throughout the year? We regret that little of the ending year has brought us any good as a people. Our collective national life has been troubles, and nothing but troubles. There is indeed very little to celebrate under the Kenya Kwanza regime that must make the heroes of our independence turn in their graves. The present regime stands for negations and reversals of all the promises and hopes of Jamhuri in 1963. The founders of our nation freed us from the yoke of oppression and colonialism. This regime is keenly bent on reversing this gain by restoring both physical and psychological torture. Our human rights record is at an all-time low. Good governance, as promised under self-determination, is in a terrible spin. Violence against women and the exclusion in important spheres is at an all-time high. An average of cases, 196 of gender-based violence against women are reported every day. When this should be the week of celebration, therefore, it can at best be only a week of grave reflection. In a few days' time, they will paint a rosy picture of non-existent achievements over the past 2 years. As this regime has now distinguished itself as an edifice of dry-eyed lies, we urge you to ignore them with the contempt they deserve, knowing well that liberation is never too far. Our day as Kenyans is coming. Otherwise, we wish you a peaceful and reflective festive season. May God bless you. May God bless our country, Kenya.